Vishwaneedam dialogue. And today we have Dr. Chandrakant Kamble, who is a scholar of film studies, television, and he is also a filmmaker. He has made documentary films. And today, one of the great challenge of our society is the challenge of marginalization. But how do we represent marginalization? Therefore, the title is Films with the Margin, because doing films with the margin is different from films of the margin or above the margin, because it is a modality of width, and whom we call as margin, and people who live in the margin, they do not necessarily consider themselves as marginalized. So, therefore, representation challenges us to realize that each one of us, whether we consider ourselves in the mainstream or in the marginalized space, we are people, we are human beings, we have challenges, and we are struggling as well as thriving with our challenges with the dignity and dialogues. And film, especially film of the marginalized or film with the marginalized. Earlier, the representation of the marginalized in mainstream film was not so respectful, and both in language as well as representation, it reproduced the mainstream structure of disrespect and humiliation. Now, as new films with the margins, it represents a sense of dignity, a sense of honor, a sense of aspiration that our brothers and sisters with the marginalized space are striving for. So, with this brief prelude, so I invite Dr. Chandrakant Kamble to please make your presentation. Up to 40 minutes, please, and then we will have discussion. Thank you. Welcome, Dr. Kamble.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, film and marginalization. Uh, it is the relation of community of marginalized group in cinema. How filmmakers are representing them in mainstream Hindi cinema as well as Indian cinema, regional cinema, we can say. So we have we will look overview of Indian cinema's history. See how uh, marginalized characters, how depressed groups, people's experiences and their lives, how reflecting on the silver screen from the beginning of cinema. So just an overview of Indian cinema history from the Achut Kanya 1936. So we will see this first time backward class woman has portrayed on silver screen by German filmmaker, the director Frank Ocean. He has directed this movie Achut Kanya, and it is the first uh, representation of a backward woman portrayed as a backward woman in Indian cinema history, and this is the very beginning stage, and they try to show the very progressive approach, as well as there are many other perspectives we can criticize the movie, but throughout the Indian cinema history, we will try to understand how mainstream filmmakers, established filmmakers, how they are portraying, how they are representing the marginalized characters and their lives on the silver screen. So this Ajit Kanya to Veda, last year, the recent released movie Veda, which is again based on the marginalized woman's character, marginalized woman character centric movie. So this is the very essential movie that we can we can try to understand from Achyut Kanya to Veda how the portrayal and representation of the changing in between the century and half a decade, 1.5 decades. So we will try to understand the history journey of Indian cinema with the marginalized character. So overall, we will understand these characters, uh, the protagonist of marginalized characters. We will find out very less movies produced based on the marginalized character that based on the marginalized group and people who have uh, portrayed as a protagonist and as a lead role in the movie. So we will find out a very less number, we can say, from the Achyut Kanya, which is again based on the woman, Dalit women, then Sujata, Ankur, then Bandit Tune, Bhavandar, Chauranga. This kind of movies is based on Dalit characters, Dalit centric movies, and this very less number because Indian cinema has uh, uh, one of the significant industry in the world. We are producing number of movies uh, by annually, and the majority of population we are excluded from the mainstream cinema. So we will try to understand how it's the working as well as the perspective. We will try to understand the perspective and business behind that business, because the mainstream filmmakers, they have a question ki how we can take a story from the marginalized group that will work as an blockbuster movie, and it will they have question ki this is not a blockbuster movie, this is not the market oriented movie, so they have some afraid about that. So one of the things, and that's why the influence is happen. The majority of movies and film producers and directors, they portray marginalized character in their cinemas, which is sub characters, supportive characters, and very minor characters. You can say minor characters from the other movies like Lagan and Akrosh and many movies. We will we will see these movies have supportive characters and very minor characters, which is regarding story that they took in this story very minorly, and some movies show major characters as well as. It's similarly Indian cinema. We can overview mainstream cinema how portrayed the characters and marginalized characters very less number. Similarly, it happened in regional cinema as well as, because from from the movie cinema in South Indian, Telugu, and Malayalam cinema and other regional cinema also, it's a similar situation. They have very less Dalit oriented cinemas, and as well as women oriented cinemas. They have very less numbers based on these issues and characters. So it's it's mainstream cinema as well as the regional cinema. They have a very less number produced movies based on these marginalized groups, and this is the thing we have to find out throughout the Indian cinema's history. And then we need to understand the representation of marginalization in mainstream Indian cinema. We will discuss about the so-called Hindi cinema, so-called Bollywood cinema. If you are looking at cinemas and the journey of Hindi cinema, you will find out some patterns, some themes, and which is like it misrepresentation, metonymical representation as well as underrepresentation. This kind of pattern of representation you will find out throughout the Hindi cinema history. So under the misrepresentation, so those who not experienced the oppression and exploitation. So these kind of filmmakers talking about the oppressed experiences and their stories. So they are imagination. They are creating the imagination stories about the others, about the victims, and for that concept they bring on screen. And when they produce movie on this particular issue and particular character, it's become it's absolutely created misrepresentation because they are talking about the uh, Dalit characters and Dalit Adivasi character, but uh, that is the difference between perspectives. They are talking through their own perspective, which is on the imagination, which is based on the imaginary, and these people's stories are realistic and actual event based, so they are just imagining about the victim's story and life and creating movies about them. So the many movies like even I will add it in this misrepresentation scene. Even Achut Khanna, even the Bandit Tune, Bhavanda, Chauranga, and these are the Dalit character centric movies as well as many sub characters. These kind of movies now misrepresenting the Dalit character in their cinemas. So you will find out these characters always showcase about the victims, caste victims, gender victims, and social victim, rape victim, and vulnerable. These kind of themes they never broke, and this kind of character portrayed in their movie. So as well as we will understand the metonymical representation. The similar some movies are movies they uh, marginalized characters and they misrepresented the build characters and the Adivasi characters as well as some of the characters in their movies they metonomically represented. So the value of character and the character's time and their approach and their language and their originality they miss it, and as per their condition and requirement of cinematography and requirement of story, they modify the originality and they artificially created some interesting character as per the story, and they portrayed sub characters in their movie, and it's absolutely came in the metonymical representation as well as like Sujata, even Article 15 and Veda. These kind of movies have metanomically represented in from the mainstream Hindi cinema
Sorry,
as well.
sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. Just somebody is asking to adjust your mic little bit. Can you do that, please? He's not able to hear. I
Okay,
think
okay.
that you do that. Yes. Thank you.
Is it okay?
Yeah, I am able to hear the person. Alfred, I think he was writing.
Okay,
He's
okay.
able to hear.
I hope I am audible. So
Yes, yes.
the
You're audible.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you. The another thing the pattern is under representation. So these themes uh, uh, we can find out throughout the Indian cinema's history. Uh, the majority of movies about the lead characters, about the marginalized groups, that marginalized character uh, uh, underrepresented by the non-marginalized groups and non-marginalized filmmakers. As I said, they have their own imagination about the about the marginalized character, and they they are creating and they are designing the character through their own perspective and their own imagination. I would say this kind of dominance perspective it's coming through this character on the screen through the dominant perspective as well, like Bandit Kun Soranga and even though Rudali and many other movies have underrepresented because the cinema it's narration by filmmaker by director, and director have some some uh, some kind of storytelling uh, style of storytelling, and how they are telling stories, that is the very important. So that's why this character been portrayed through the different perspectives, and when we are talking about the marginalized character portrayed and represented on silver screen under by under representation. Yeah, how they are represented in silver screen, specifically in Hindi cinema. We will find out the majority of movies about Dalit characters. They 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 have been portrayed underrepresented, and as per the requirement of directors, they have modified the characters and they portrayed on their own perspective, as well as we can the second thing is that these kind of representation, these three representations, like the three themes, misrepresentation, metanomical representation, and under-representation. It's when you are criticizing the movies by about the marginalized characters and caste-based movies and discrimination, when the gender-based movies, when you have to and when you are watching it, when you are criticizing the movie, that you can find out this kind of pattern you will find out through the this particular cinema, and the production number is very less by in a decade you will find out a very less number that those movies have produced about marginalized group, and they are showing their experiences and their life and how they are living in their daily lives, and what is their work and their work culture, their food culture, and their dialects, their languages, and it's totally about the the artificially portrayed, and it's not a bringing the originality uh, as per the origin they are living. So it's modifying, and it's cinematic creativity. They are getting this kind of freedom, and it's modifying, and that influence uh, uh, has movie is going to underrepresented, and the characters are misrepresented, and the themes and their concept also this is misrepresented. But similarly, we have many movies that based on the marginalized group, which is very accurately represented by the mainstream filmmakers, such as the directors like Sam Benegal and Satyajit Ray Sadgati and these other uh, Gautam Ghosh and many filmmakers. They represented and portrayed the Dalit characters and marginalized characters accurately and appropriately. So that is the exceptional case, and these are the rare case, and we have rare movies about the characters, which is giving the justification of their life and their portrayal. But the majority movies are this kind of themes and patterns we will find throughout the Hindi cinema. Similarly, the second thing I have found through the cinema's history, uh, uh, non-Dalit and upper caste filmmakers, uh, they portrayed and they represented Dalit characters, which is hugely uh, influenced by stereotypes, representation, and stereotypically representation that we have find throughout the cinema history. So this kind of things under the stereotypical representation, and there is stereotypical portray that about the Dalit Dalit children, Dalit women. They have that kind of particular pattern and themes. They are continuously following this pattern and themes, and it has created stereotypical representation of this kind of marginalized group. So, the first thing is social victims. So, the majority of movies uh, those who have based on the marginalized character, they have portrayed and represented the marginalized character as a social victim, as a social victim. The character is facing some issue regarding the society, regarding the dignity, regarding the freedom, regarding the resources, and regarding the opportunities, and this character become a victim, and as it is they are portraying, and more than that the uh, sub characters, other sub characters and savarna characters, they are oppressing, and they are exploiting, and it
Right.
has the number of movies you will find out. So these social victims, and from the Achut Kanya to recently released the movie Veda, which is again based on the Dalit woman's character. Uh, so this kind of stereotypical representation we can find out in Hindi cinema history, and hmm, there are two layers. One is about the male characters, and the second is the female characters. Dalit female characters, they have their they have another layers to represent them, and the male characters it's always both characters are represented under the social victim as well as Dalit female character, it has a doubly and triply exploited as a caste, as a gender, and it that kind of pattern we will find out in Hindi cinema. So, I found out some things which is based on the Dalit women's characters, how filmmakers are portraying Dalit female on the screen. So the second thing is a rape victim. So throughout the Indian cinema's history, basically in Hindi cinema, so I found out only seven, 8 movies that those movies are based on the Dalit girls and Dalit women's real life experiences from Achyut Kanya to Bandit Kun and Rudali, then Sujata and Chauranga uh, and 200 Hallahu, Madam Chief Minister and the Veda. These movies talking about the Dalit women. These movies telling stories about the Dalit women's character, Dalit women's life and their struggle. So, so that from these movies, the most of the movies, I would say the 4 movies based on the rape victims, based on the rape victims. Uh, uh, Ankur, Bandit Kun, Bhavandar, these kind of Chauranga, these kind of movies has based on the Dalit women's rape victims, and many of movies they are real life experiences and real life experiences those who are from Dalit women like Chauranga. It's it's about a Bengali Dalit woman. She is a rape victim. She is a victim, and on this event, based on that incident, filmmaker get inspiration from this story and evidence, and they produce movie. Even though similarly, the Bandit Queen, this is the autobiography and biopic of Devi, as we know, and even the Bhavandar is also the Bhavanwari Devi's story, biopic. So this kind of movie uh, based on the rape victim, and despite that they have real experiences and they have real proof and evidence. The filmmaker try to try to uh, uh, getting the cinematic freedom, and they represented the women their own perspectives, the cinematic language, aesthetics, and style of narration. So it's similarly many movies they express their sympathy and empathy towards the victims. So some of the movies they expressed their own standpoint, their own perspectives, and some of movies they are as it is try to uh, capture their life and evidence. So this kind of movie uh, based on rape victims, and that number is very high. And the other 4 movies, these movies are also the social victim and caste victim, and there is a no the dignity, there is a no the freedom, there is a no empowerment, and these kind of things are completely losing and missing from their portrayal and their narration. But this kind of movie inspired by the uh, filmmaker, and the events and evidence uh, portrayed on cinematic way on silver screen. And one of the things is that this kind of story uh, it's when you are making the movies on the rape victims, it's help to get audiences in theater, and you can get the benefit from benefit, financial benefit, and you will get the other things, these kind of uh, 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 strategies behind that. So it's and as well as the cinematic politics and social politics are there. So that's why the many movies based on the victims specifically, and these things in you will find out throughout the Hindi cinema history. Again, the 200 Halla Ho, it's based on the Dalit woman's rape victim, but it's not story about the victim, but it's the story revolving around the victims' life and their families and this society. And as well as the Article 15 is starting from the again Dalit rep victim, rep the people raped and murdered her. So it's the movie has started from this background and this starting point. So these things are sometimes we need to understand to why they are they are they need this kind of background to tell their stories. Those who are from the oppressed group and marginalized. So when you are non-Dalit and non-marginalized, so once you are talking about their story, so why we need to choose these kind of particular stories and these kind of particular evidence? So this is the again a research question. So we have to deal with that. So again, I find out some stereotypical names from the first movie Achut Kanya. There is Kasturi's father's name is Dukhiya. Dukhiya, the name is sad, and when you are observing carefully, so the Dalit character's name, you will find out some like these kind of they have one pattern. So you will find out the similarly pattern from Achut Kanya to recently released movies. So you will find out like this. The names are like Dukhiya, Kachra from Lagan movies, and then Dukhiya also from Sadgati. You will get it from that, as well as Mungri from Rudali movie. So these kind of useless and Dukhiya and Kachra, it's dust. So these kind of movies, names of Dalit characters and Adivasi characters, you will find out through this cinema, and you will understand their character representation and their attire, their costume, their dialogue, and their expression, as well as their name. So this kind of particular pattern you will find out when you are watching carefully and reviewing the movie. So these are the significant thing that we have to note it. So this was the overview of Hindi cinema's representation, how they are portraying the characters, and how they are uh, uh, selecting the stories, and how they are representation of the characters, and how they are talking uh, their stories. So after the OTT, after the pandemic, the OTT platforms uh, emerged, emerged, and the thing is that those who are those artists who are belong to the marginalized groups and marginalized communities. These kind of artists, they got opportunity to enter in the mainstream cinema and enter in the regional cinemas industry, and they have try to tell their own story, like many scholars, film scholars, and other feminist scholars, as well as the marginalized caste studies scholars. They have arguing on that the Dalit filmmakers entered in film industry, and they are talking their own stories, their own perspective, and that would be the accurate, and they are portraying their lives and their experiences through their own language and their own culture and their own perspective. So they are arguing, like, even though the Suraj Engde and many of other Manju Idachira and many other scholars, film scholars and feminist scholars, they are talking about the marginalized cinema, how it has the changing the platform of cinema about the marginalized characters, and specifically the Dalit character. Suraj Engde has arguing that this kind of cinema that has entirely changed the representation of Dalit characters, and he has calling this kind of cinema we can define as a Dalit cinema. We can call as a Dalit genre, and they are writing about that, and they are talking about the Dalit cinemas, and we can try to understand how Dalit filmmakers are trying to erase the stereotypical identity of Dalits and marginalized characters, and how they are encouraging, how they are portraying their characters uh, from their own cinemas and their own language. So we have to we will try to understand that these kind of filmmakers, how they are erasing the stereotypical representation of the characters, and how they are changing, try to changing the character pattern of representation, and the inclusiveness of uh, uh, characters and diversity of Indian beauty. So they are trying to make movies which is justifying the Indian diversity, and they are trying to attempt the giving the justification of excluded community and excluded people. So they are trying to become a voice of voiceless, and we will give the example from Marathi film industry. There are many filmmakers, those who are from marginalized groups, and they are talking their own story. They are talking about their own culture, own language, and their own experiences based on the caste, based on the marginalization, based on the gender, based on the other parameters, and which is coming the very genuinely and very accurately representing these kind of characters. The one of the significant filmmakers, Nagaraj Manjule, his first movie, which is based on the nomadic tribes. He is belong to the Dalit community, and his first short film, the name is uh, uh, Pistula. The short film Pistula is based on the nomadic tribe, which is no one knows about their what is the nomadic tribes, and who are these kind of people, where they live, and the many questions. We don't know the mainstream society and the so-called progressive society. But these kind of people, these are the homeless people, landless people. They are roaming village to village, and this kind of character first time uh, portrayed on the silver screen by Nagaraj Manjule, and that short film got national award. And again, the Fanry is another milestone in Indian cinema history. So that Fanry is again about the Dalit experiences and Dalit lives, and it is uh, 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 the Nagaraj Manjule. He has expressed his thought through his movies. He said these movies, the majority scenes and sequences based on my own life. So this is the thing that and that movie has won the numerous national and international awards, and the movie had screen in prestigious film festivals throughout the world. And and the another movie is uh, Jhun. Jhun is again the backward classes, and when they are migrated in cities, progressive developing cities, and when they went there, so they are creating their own homes, and it's become a uh, uh, slum area, and the Jhund is try to telling the stories of slums, those who are uh, belong to the mm, backward and marginalized groups. And this kind of story in mainstream Indian cinemas with the caste identity is never came with that the originality, and this is the rareness and the uniqueness of Dalit filmmakers. They are portraying their characters with the caste identity and with the dignity and the proudness of the uh, uh, bringing the uh, enthusiastic and educated person awake and about the education, about the society, and as well as the backward class women's characters. They are educated, empowered, active, and aggressive. So these kind of characters uh, very uniquely and very rarely we will find out in cinemas, the Hindi cinema. So as well as the Sairat is another blockbuster movie from Marathi cinema industry. So this movie has a record break movie in the Marathi cinema industry, and this is based on the caste, and the stories about the intercaste marriage and how they are bringing their own caste identity and how they are facing the mm, and they are what is their struggle and their life, and everything is there. They are the Nagaraj Manjule has portrayed as a in a poetic manner and with the heavy content and the unique story narration style. So that movie has appealing the internationally national audiences. So these are the little filmmakers coming from their own stories and their own experiences. So the as well as the South Indian filmmakers, those who are belong to the again marginalized community, and they are telling their own stories in the regional mainstream film industry. Uh, from Tamil industry, there are many filmmakers like Paranjit, Maran, and other filmmakers. Uh, uh, they are try to uh, um, uh, they are erasing the stereotypical representation from their uh, skills. So Paranjit's movies like Kabali, Kala, Nachatitaram Nagargiradu, and uh, Sarpatta Parambarai. These kind of movies are mainstream movies, and they are blockbuster movies. They earn thousands, 100 crores of this kind of movies has less budget, and they get popular and uh, hit and super hit. So this kind of story coming from the marginalized filmmakers and their uh, character, as well as Hindi cinema. There are many films that are bringing the uh, uh, bringing the accurate representation and talking about Dalit characters and Dalit women characters, and they are portraying uh, and appropriately on silver screen, like Masan and Gilipucci and Made in Heaven. Those movies are produced by Neeraj Gaiwan and directed and produced by Neeraj Gaiwan. These movies are talking about and the characters and the female characters. They have in from this kind of movies you will found some new patterns. These characters are not victims, and these characters are talking about their own development. They are educated, they are empowered, they are active and aggressive. So this changing shift victim to active and progressive. So this kind of cinematic journey we can observe throughout the cinema history. So we will find out the the the, the changing of representation of Dalit characters and marginalized characters throughout the past one decade. So this kind of narration before that, so uh, we are missing, we are losing. So there are a lack of accurate representation and authentic narration style, and suddenly it's changing the style of storytelling, and this kind of Dalit filmmakers, they have their own unique style and the film aesthetic, cinematic techniques. They are they are casting the characters, those who are originally belong to the particular experiences and particular community. They're taking non actor characters in their movies, which is getting the benefit of originality. And this is the great example. Nagaraj Manjule's all movies, there are very less characters, those who are from mainstream film industry and those who are from acting background. These all characters are non-actors and they are origin. And despite that, these movies are appreciated as a globally. And this even though Paranjit, Vetrimaran, and even though other movies we can, even though the other backward filmmakers like DJ DJ Gaiwan, he had this lot of movies regarding this. And even though the White Tiger and Newton, these are the even the non-Dalit filmmakers also bringing the movies with the accurate representation. They are producing movies and try to change the pattern and try to erase the stereotypical identity of the characters, and they are coming they are try to portray the characters, the lead characters and marginalized characters as a protagonist, active protagonist. Positively they are portraying their characters, and that change has significantly happened from the last one decade, and we can say approximately one decade. It's a very essential for the Indian cinema's history, that changed the Indian cinema's narration, the the pattern of storytelling, and it's coming. The films are very inclusive, diverse, and filmmakers talking the diversity. They're talking about the inclusiveness. They are getting the excluded characters and topic, themes, content. They are they are making movies on that excluded content and themes and stories. So this is the very positive sign for Indian cinemas. These kind of changes happening in contemporary in Indian cinema's history. So in conclusion, uh, from the last decade, Dalit filmmakers and marginalized filmmakers, artists, they are entered in the mainstream and regional film industry, and they are talking about their own stories, and they are talking about their own experiences, stories, and their culture, and it's portrayed as it is, as accurately and appropriately, and their own language and their own perspective, which is a positive sign, as well as the non-Dalit filmmakers, contemporary some filmmakers, they are uh, uh, producing movies about Dalits, and it is also the accurately they are try to portraying it, and it has successfully portrayed some of the movies we can about the Dalits and marginalized groups, and that is the very significant thing. We are changing the uh, narration and stereotypical portrayal of particular characters, particular community, and particular gender. So it is the breaking out, and it's Indian cinemas. Uh, 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 it has inclusive and diverse and progressive, and we can say the inclusive cinematic culture. It's happening in contemporary Indian cinema, and this kind of filmmakers are try to uh, tell their stories on their own narrative style and perspectives, and it is a very important whatever you have story, but how you are told story, how you are telling, and what is your storytelling style, and representing the character. So the this is the lenses. It's about the lens. So when you are changing the lens, the scene and shot, you will get the different meaning when you are changing the lens. So it's about perspective. So the contemporary filmmakers, they are more inclusive, diverse, and they are talking about their own experiences, and which is a very positive sign. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrakant, for your many-sided presentations. So originally we had scheduled it till 7. With dear friends, let us spend a little more time, another 15 minutes, please. So now I request Minati to please nurture the conversations, please.
Okay. Thank you, Anantbhai. Uh, Congratulations to Dr. Chandrakant Kamble for many-sided for the many-sided presentation. So now let's have some reflection, some discussions. So I request now Professor Gan Luigi to share some of his reflections. his presentation, Professor Ganlui.
Yes, I thank you very much. It was really very interesting. Unfortunately, I do not know very much about the subject. Therefore, in this moment, I have no particular observation, notes, or questions. I am reflecting on the different contents because it was very rich, and yeah, unfortunately, I must admit, I do not have any particular competence. I will meditate on the subject. Thank you very much. It was really very, very impressive. Thank you.
Maybe
Thank you.
if I may, Gianluigi, if you can kindly share a bit about from Italian cinema, one or two exclusion of
Yes.
is just one or two.
Exclusion. Yes. Well, it depends because there are different portraits. For instance, there was in the 60s, there was some impulses regarding the question of people who was not integrated in society and who worked, for instance, in the suburbs of Rome. This is for sure a subject which was not very developed indeed, but it has some films, for instance, Scola, Ettore Scola. On the other hand, I would say, but it is not so much a marginalization aesthetic, so to speak, something which derives from the conditions in which people live. Marginalization, we had different studies in films regarding the migration from the south to the north, and regarding, of course, the marginalization of the people who were going to lose their roots in the south to go to the north, of course, in an environment in which they were completely foreign, with the exception of for the language, of course, but on the other hand, they were completely transplanted to a part of Italy, to the other part of Italy, and who lived at least initially at the margin of the society, because the society of the north was very different from the society of the south. Society of the south was in the 60s a society more for farmers. Society of the north was in the great cities, at least, more societies for great industry, for the industry at least, and therefore they transferred themselves to the people of the south, to a part of the country in which everything was new for them. We have some studies of this in cinema for sure. As regards marginalization, on the other hand, I would say in the cinema, which was developed immediately after World War II, and in the 50s, I would say in these 15 years after World War II, there were some studies regarding the marginalization in which people lived due to the poverty. This also is a subject which was very important, I would say, in the first 15 years after the end of World War II. I would say the marginalization is in the cinema, the Italian cinema is, I would say, in the first 15 years for sure, poverty due to the catastrophe of the world. In the 60s, late 50s, 60s, I would say marginalization concentrated on the effects of the great emigration from the south to the north. And after that, I would say in the 70s, most of all the marginalizations due to the disorder created by the great immigration from the south to the north, and the problems which the cities, the big industrial cities like Turin and Milan, especially Milan, I would say, had due to this immigration, because the people were not sufficiently integrated. The cities was not ready to bear these great immigration. On the other hand, I would say marginalization also as a study of some cities like Rome, in which there was not so much, I would say, a great immigration from the south to the north, except for the fact that Rome always in the centuries in Italy exercised sort of magnetism, especially for the south, but not due to the presence of in Rome of industries. Anyway, the study of people who were not in the condition to integrate themselves in Rome and who lived in the suburbs of Rome with no fixed position as a jobs and with the economic difficulties and with, of course, problems due to the criminality and to the lack of a control of the state and of the government on these parts of Rome. I would say these are, in my opinion, at least if I think now at the problem of the question and theme of marginalizations in films, in Italian films, until the 80s, 70s, 80s of the past century. I would say these are the three subjects, and of course they have been dealt with by different film directors, because there is in the 15 years after World War II, I would say all the directors of neorealism have particularly interest in the change with the societies in Italy has, and interest also in the condition of poverty. 70s, 60s is like something else, because in this case, other film directors are dealing with the problems concerned with the great emigration from the south to the north. And in the 70s and 80s, other directors too are dealing with problems of the suburb, of the great cities, and of the lack of control of integration of the newcomers in these towns. I would say these are the main questions of marginalization. Of course, we can find also other subjects, other film directors, but I would say these are the three principal main thread regarding marginalization in films in Italy. I would say so rather synthetically. Thank you. But of course, I can think it over, because it is a difficult question. I would say perhaps this last observation, I would say it is not. It should not. One should not be astonished if I say that this interest for marginalization was very alive until the end of the 80s, because after the collapse of the Communist Party, which had, of course, a great influence on the cultural industry and, of course, also on the cinematographic industry, there were, in my opinion, rather a decadence of the of the cinematographic industry and cinematographic culture as a way of denouncing marginalization. That is, all in all, the film as a way of of investigating into the social problems in Italy on one hand, and of course in regarding the social problems, the marginalization was very alive until the Communist Party lived, and after the collapse of the Communist Party, this kind of cultural cinematography has had at least a great decadence. Therefore, I think when we think about the study of marginalization in the Italian cinematographic culture, we should take into consideration the years between 1945 and 1989. I have the impression that thereafter there is nearly nothing, and this is due to the political absence of parties which have really an interest to denounce reality, to criticize also the reality which we have in Italy, and to propose, at least propose, a different model of development and a different model of society. Now, after the collapse of the Communist Party, there is, so to speak, an acceptance of reality as it is, and therefore also the very ground to produce films which denounce marginalization and which try to find an alternative way in order to eliminate the marginalization of social classes in the reality. This cinema has this, it, so to speak, lost its political reference in the parliament and society, and therefore there is this decadence. I thank you very much. Well, I will meditate on the question, but I would say synthetically it is so. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Gyanluiji. Now I invite Dr. Susri Sangita Mishra to share her reflections and thoughts and views. Dr. Susri Sangita Mishra, please.
Thank you, Minnati. And thank you, Professor Chandrakant. It was a very nice presentation, especially became very, very interesting, as it progressed into the, in the second half of the presentation. I particularly found 2 points worth discussing and worth highlighting. Definitely, I would. One is, I think it was a very, very interesting way of, portraying or rather discussing the regional cinemas, the portrayal of the Dalits and their in the regional cinema, and to draw the parallel of the central cinema. That is one. And also another point which I resonated a lot, that among the layered conversation, that among the Dalit also there is a difference, and there is a difference of suffering, both the suffering and also the way in which it has been portrayed, dealt with and portrayed, the hope and resistance between the genders. Both that also is a very interesting and thought-provoking point, is what I feel. I have, Dr. Chandrakant was speaking, I had a couple of thoughts in my mind. First of all, uh, I would probably, want to know a little more on the how over the decades, because we see the portrayal was very different, perhaps, a couple of decades back till about a decade back, and how this is being portrayed in the recent films. So it would be probably very interesting to see how it has progressed over time, how it has changed, or, how the portrayal of the marginalized group has evolved in the cinema over the decades. This is one thing that could be probably discussed, and it would be interesting to know about that, if there has been study on this. And also another point, would I be right to say, I mean, this is what I was thinking as, during the presentation, that in the earlier decades, the movies used to have more stress on the suffering, if I can put it this way, that romanticizing the suffering than stressing on the recovery, stressing on the hope, resistance, and the story of survival. But would I be right to say that now that uh, um, the focus and the narrative is shifting towards more of hope and less on uh, overpowering suffering. So this is the second point that I was thinking. Maybe I would love to hear out others' perspective as well. And it was very interesting and nice to hear out Gianluigi ji about the Italian cinema. It was really interesting to know how it has evolved over the last few decades. In fact, I was thinking exactly in the similar way how it would have been impacted by the other, the external forces, you know, uh, the global factors and other Uh, so with these thoughts, I would rather leave the floor to others and to want to listen more than speak. Thank you, Minati, and thank you, Anandabhai.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Chandrakant Kamble, please write down the queries. At the end, we will invite you to share your thoughts. So now, may I invite Mr. Alfred to share your thoughts and reflection.
Thank you, Professor Chandrakant. Actually, it was very interesting. I'm from Kerala, so I'm only familiar with Zairat in the movies you have mentioned. And that movie was very touching for me. And someone coming from Kerala, so in Malayalam film industry, like for 10 years ago, there was a trend. The mainstream heroes, like two superstars, they would only act in the movies where the protagonist is an upper caste landlord who is romanticizing his past and who has certain people, these marginalized people under him. And most of the mainstream hit movies followed this same formula, and it continued for like more than 10 years. And it reached a point where a superstar trying to change the identity of a character who was from the marginalized into an upper caste man to match certain ideologies. But recently it has been changed, and just like Tamil, there are also stories from the other side coming to industry, which is very refreshing. But I want to talk about one other thing, which is from Tamil. So I hope you are aware about Mari Selvaraj, a Dalit filmmaker from Tamil Nadu. And when he first released his movie, which is called Pariyarum Perumal, which is about a Dalit student facing discrimination from his classmate and their family, this was quite widely celebrated and appreciated. But when he came with his second movie, which is called Karnan, in which the Dalit protagonist fights back against the institution, against the injustice, people was started saying like he is just promoting violence, and because of him showing violence, even though it is about injustice, this doesn't solve the issues. It only adds oil or fuel to the ongoing issues, and this won't do well. And his response was, in Pariyaram Perumal, it is the marginalized people who faces injustice, and they are the ones who's facing violence. And when the marginalized one starts using violence against the injustice, it becomes a problem for many. So I felt that quite connecting to whatever you were saying. Like when the violence is shown upon the marginalized people, just like Dr. Sushri Sankita Mishra said, like it is romanticized. But when the marginalized starts to use the same violence against their injustice, it becomes a problem for many. And yeah, thank you for your presentation. Thank you.
Uh, Mr. Alfred, I would just request you if you have any idea about the film Kala and Asuran, could you please give little bit these things, because I have not watched, only I had read that the
Yeah,
Tamil movies. If you have any
Kala,
ideas
Kala is
about
by,
that, you can.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, ma'am. Kala is by Paranjit. So it is set in Dharavi, Mumbai, where not a Gunda, but a local leader who's played by Rajnikant stays in Dharavi, and uh, the administration, which is far right wing, they want to remove Dharavi from the map and want to clean the city. It's about a fight of the slum people against this administrative destruction. That's what Kala actually talks about. And that movie was released in 2018, and it was quite surprising because a mainstream superstar like Rajnikant is the biggest superstar in Tamil industry or in South Indian cinema, deciding to like willing to act as a marginalized person, and like like he's actually quite famous for his right wing politics. So it was actually quite refreshing to talk him, like make him talk dialogues which is actually opposite to his oppressive ideologies, and it had a huge impact. Like because of Kala, because of Rajnikant decided to act on this issue, many filmmakers had the guts to bring their stories like this. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Alfred, for bringing about. I was a bit curious to know about this much, discussed movie. So next, I can invite Mr. Afan to share your thoughts and reflections, please.
Thank you for the very enlightening presentation. It was really interesting. I mean, myself, like, I don't really watch a lot of movies or, like, but the thing is, like, a movie is like a discourse of, like, I mean, a non fictional movie would be something very this thing, but I mean, even that has a discourse, but a movie with some kind of social expression and stuff, it has a lot of discourse and, like, about how, like, it starts from the production process and it goes up to the post production, and, like, how people view it, and, like, how people reflect on it as well. So that's something like quite interesting, like, how we can observe power dynamics and, like, all these things, like, from the, like, if you look at it from the production perspective, like, like the visionary, the director who comes up with the idea, and then, like, you have like a whole team of people, and like the cinematographer, and like the visual artist, and all these people come together. And yeah, that's what this thing, like, how, like, the different people from different places and different experiences come together to make the cinema, and how they are able to portray or, like, effectively communicate whatever they have observed and stuff. That is something that I, like, really this thing. And the observations of Dr. Chandrakant Kamble was really interesting about, like, how he took a broad uh, series of observations, not just, like, a very narrow this thing. Like, he had like a lot of different kinds of movies that he observed and came up with conclusions from. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. May I next invite Miss Nidhi Singh to share her thought and reflection. Miss Nidhi Singh, please.
Hello, am I
Yeah, you are
audible?
audible. Please go on. Yeah, you are audible. Please go on.
Thank you, ma'am. Uh, as I can hear you, all of you, uh, your theme was uh, just a moment. Films with the margins, story of courage, resistance, and hope. Ma'am, I'm just learning about the session you are organizing. As I heard Chandrakant Kamble sir and Sangeeta ma'am and uh, Jialunji sir, and I just tried to understand about the Dalit who are
Hello,
margins
Nidhi.
in our.
Hello, Nidhi.
Ye-
Nidhi,
Yes,
welcome. You can open your video. We can greet you, please. Just introduce yourself a little bit. Welcome to our group. Yes. If it is okay, you can
sir,
open your.
I'm not in that
Okay.
condition where I can
Okay.
show my face to all of you.
Okay.
So,
Please continue.
okay, thank you, sir. So I just understand about the films who, uh, which is showing the condition of Dalits and margins people uh, in the Indian film industry. I think we have to focus on Indian Dalit women also. Sir, I'm not sure that I'm going right or wrong. I'm just trying to figure out what to say. Hello?
Hello. Yeah, thank you. So now next, may I invite Miss Soumya Kannan. Then after that, Professor M.Y. Mashur. So please, Soumya Kannan, please. Okay, she's taking some time. So Professor M.Y. Mashur, sir, please. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, please. You can share your reflections.
Okay. Actually, I did not. Huh? Actually, I did not listen the whole lecture. I joined very late. Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes. Please. Yeah, yes.
Am
We can hear. Please tell.
am I audible?
Yes. You are very much audible.
But you see, I know that film is a very forceful, very powerful medium through which we can approach, you see, common people. And as for this Dalit and down, we should say in a bit downtrodden people are concerned, they have been represented in many films. But what happened that the elite class, they did not, you see, even watch those films. They did not watch those movies. They simply ignore them, saying that these are merely for Dalits and this and that. However, my friend, sir has asked me to recite a Kashmiri poem. Should I? Hello?
No, just Anand bhai, should we keep it towards the end?
Yes, a film song from Kashmir. So we can
Oh,
keep it.
no, not film song, but a love song.
Okay, yes, towards the end we would have it, please. And
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
so we would
Okay, sir.
request you, yes, please, towards the end. Thank you.
Okay.
So now, Anant bhai, would you like to say something, or I have just a few things, few queries or things to share. I will just. I would.
Please do.
Yeah. Congratulations, Dr. Chandrakant Kamble. It was, I was just, if I say, I should not call myself a cinephile, but, I love to watch movies. I used to watch movies, but let me confess these things. In my younger age, when I was a teenager, that time probably I was watching movie for the entertainment, like songs, music, and what is the dance or stories. But as I grew up, I just realized that film is like that very crafted thing, which is means you have to weave together the story, the acting, the costumes, song, the cinematography, the dialogue, and everything. And I got immense respect for the filmmakers who do that. No, it is not like that, just like that you do something, you have to make it palpable to your audience. So in when you were mentioning so many things from that Achyut Kanya, Sujata, and all, just I was thinking about the 1985 film Gulami. That has got that movie I watched very in the very later stage of my life. But what I found that they have raised the voice against the Dalits. But no, the way the movie is presented, it may or may not touch the audience. that cinema is very powerful. I mean, audiovisual medium is a very powerful medium, which has got the potential to change the social norms and other things. So, if you see the recent films like Article 15, Road, which is about honor killing, and as well as, the caste based things little bit, Bandit Queen, and you mentioned Masan, that touched my heart so much, that Masan movie, and the filmmaker Prakash Arakshan, and all these movies, in that sense, if you take that world cinema also, that Korean movie which got so many awards, Parasite, that is also talks about marginality, all these. So what I feel is there is a gap between, what the purpose of those type of cinema is lost in that box office things. If you make a very real film like what is the suffering, the things and all, it won't go for the box office, and definitely nobody can survive. You just like that making one or two movies, then you will be drained out. The best thing will be there to, but of course we are seeing a new change. The new generation of film goers and filmmakers are aware of that. The skeleton of the real incident, they are giving the creative body. That is very welcoming change actually into the film industry. That is what I feel. You are a filmmaker, so you know more better than me, much better than me. But these are the things. But what I was just wanted to know from you, the documentaries are, I mean, real incident, you document those things. And those things are used for the, investigation or mass media, those purpose. I mean, do you think, when sometimes the documentaries are uh, converted into parallel cinema, which is everybody is not very skilled of. I mean, like Sam Benegal and other people, they used to do that. So what I mean, I gave my very limited knowledge. I just suggested few things. Even if you see, not about marginalization, the great filmmaker Raj Kapoor, he had made such beautiful films like means questioning the core issues of the society that time, like Prem Rog, even Ram Teri Ganga Meli, Mother India Logan and all won so many awards. But these things, if you look into those movies, like you see the social status of that time and how it has been made. So, what do you think? What is the bridge between from the from documentary to how we can reach to the wider audience, which will also have a social impact? What the filmmakers should do? And about the Tamil films, also I asked Mr. Alfred to, because I just have read about it, but I have not watched those movies. Even Joy of Him, Bandit Queen, those things are really so. So, what do you think? What should be done to the purpose will be met? If means somebody does so much of research, wave the characters, do, but if it does not reach the audience, purpose is lost on the way somewhere. Like the main thing is to make aware and change the society, isn't it? Will you agree with me or not? I don't know, but I feel so. So this one, can you just tell me a little bit about that? And one more thing, what do you think? Do you think short films are more effective? Because like during the COVID time, I just wrote few short stories. That one among that is Koke. Koke means the person. How to explain that? That the people, they carry them into the, when the person dies, that carry that six wala things. So that one, in that I had portrayed, it is a ulta way, like the people who were used to be considered marginalized, they are that time adored, so that they can take their near and dear ones to the uh, smasan, I mean to the crematorial ground, because these people don't want to touch. It is very short, but I just that had got very good review, like means that I had written. It was just so. What do you think? What that short films do? It can it make the larger impact like the parallel cinema or the cinemas which are very uh, hit? Like, what do you think? What are your opinions about it? So these are my
Thank,
queries. Thank you. And
thank
Ananta
you.
bhai, I invite you to share your queries. And
Shall I?
no,
Yeah,
just a minute, Ananta bhai.
Okay.
yeah, it has been an enriching discussion. So Chandrakant, you yourself also have make one or two documentaries. As you engage with the thoughts from our friends, you can
Yeah.
speak briefly about one of your documentaries, Yes. And also whether you write poems and songs, and whether you bring your own poems and songs to your documentary. And then there is if there is a possibility of border crossing, for example, some of our friends, Minati write poems and our Yusuf Bhai writes. So maybe in one of your documentary, you can include, and then yeah, that would be lovely. Okay, please.
Just a minute. Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt again. I just wanted to, no, as we are mentioning regional cinema, there is last year one Odia cinema has been released. That is Puskara, that name of the movie. That was also very good. I just watched that. It was no a Brahmin boy, a Brahmin boy, the learning. I mean, the person who was learning Veda, the situation how he forced to do that. No, that in the crematorium ground he's just doing the things. Just those. That was very really means no that. It brings a new dimension to the creativity also. So I just wanted to mention this. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you.
Right.
Dr. Chandrakant Kamble, you can carry on with your replies,
Thank, thank you.
reflections.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, your first question about documentary. So this is the issue regarding the documentary. The Indian filmmakers and specifically documentary filmmakers, they don't have a particular platform to show their documentaries. So like cinema, we have a well organized theatrical platforms, including television and the theater. But documentary filmmakers, they don't have a specific platform to showcase their art and their films. That's why that is not become commercialized platform. So it's limited about the social issue that you have to capture the things, you have to capturing a realistic event, real people, and you are trying to making some documenting some real life experiences. It's very limited, and you can only submit your film for film festivals documentary that people can watch it, and you can get responses from film critics and filmmakers. There is only platform, film festival. So this is the thing. Documentary cannot reach to the common people because the common people can't go to the film festival. There are limited seats. So this is the lack of opportunity about the platform. So that's why there is the reason. So in India we don't have too much documentary filmmaker. So this is the thing. And the second question was regarding short film. Yes, short film is the one of the significant medium that less time you can deliver your meaning, your message to the people, and nowadays short film has popularly in common audiences because people aware about the series. And if you are talking about the series, there are multiple episodes. The series are episodic, and there are multiple episodes. An episode is about 10 to 30 or 40 minutes. It is the short film. So this is the platform. Short filmmakers, they can promote their short films on OTT platforms. So you can watch also on Prime and Netflix. There are multiple short films, so you can watch over there. So this is the possibility. Short films have a scope, and this is the very nice platform that you can watch movie in a particular time. So you don't need to take 3 hours for a movie, full length movies time. So within a come very less time, around 20, 25 to 30 minutes, you can watch it and enjoy it. There is a good platform, OTT platform. This is the about short film. And the second question was Uriya movie. That was your opinion. Okay. So then Dr. Susri Misra ma'am, your question regarding suffer trauma, the trauma has romanticized in Indian cinema, specifically Hindi cinema. That is true because this thing also, when you are representing and you are portraying about the other, and as well as you have to take care about your financial benefits. So that trauma and that suffer, that sadness, you need to romanticize it. Like the ideal example, that Rudali movie. This is the brutal tradition from the North India, specifically in Rajasthan. That is the brutal tradition. But the filmmakers it made and it's that story they narrate as a poet in a poetic manner and romantic way, and that movie get attention from audiences, and audiences they love it. So this is the thing behind that. And another one is Kerala. My brother from Kerala, he said that one movie which is directed by Vetrimaran, that movie has starting the violence. It's about the Karnan. That movie has started the violence. People are getting and talking about the movie has starting violence, and people will get influence on that. But the thing is that uh, the marginalized people don't start violence. They are victims. They are getting murdered. They are raped, and they are murdered by upper caste. They are exploited, discriminate by upper caste, so-called dominant peoples, dominant caste people, and this is the thing. So they don't believe in violence. They have their demands, justific social justice and opportunity and equal status. That is the thing, and this story has coming with the cultural politics, and it's demanding the equality and social justice. That is the point of violence. So this is not the marginalized people never start violence, and they don't believe on the violence, as well as the many other professors, and uh, uh, they have appreciated, and they commented on my presentation. I really thankful to Dr. Giri sir, and you that you have appreciated my presentation, and you raised some questions regarding the presentation and regarding your understanding of cinema, and the narration of cinema. So I'm very thankful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, Anant Bhai, now we will invite Professor M.Y. Moshur for some songs he wanted to recite, Professor.
Yes,
Or some closing remarks from you, Anant Bhai, please.
yes, please.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes.
Hello. Okay.
Yes.
The poem goes like this: a Kashmiri song, love song. Yar draw salas bali bali. Yar draw salas bali bali. Bulbul antan saliye. Sait nit poshmal travtas nali. Sait nit poshmal travtas nali. Bulbul antan saliye. Mechlai kartas hal miun hali. Mechlai kartas hal miun hali. Vandas min be khaliye. Aşkun yavun piran sali. Bulbul andan saliye. Yar drav salas bali bali. Bulbul andan saliye. Yavas davan henran zali akar nera khaliye. Aşık lolan arşas khali. Bulbul andan saliye. Nur kis pardas tashi zali. Hurchas nala naliye. Pat pat hat bechis soz vali. Bulbul andan saliye. Pat pat hat bechis soz vali. Bulbul andan saliye. Oşas asan nala nali. Manimaz lalvan valiye. Tasrus Chuchun Aripas Kali. Bulbul andan saliye. I think this will do because people around will not understand the language, but they can enjoy the poetry because poetry has actually got no language, as music has got no language. Poetry also has a universal appeal whether people understand the language or not. I am very thankful to Giri sir and Minati ji for inviting me to this great lecture by Kant sir, and the topic of the title of the lecture was very much relevant, socially very much relevant, and also from the point of art, it was very much relevant. I enjoyed some part of it. Thank you very much to all of you. Hello, sir.
Thank you.
Um,
Anant bhai, can we conclude now, or you would share some reflections, closing remarks?
we can request Masur Bhai, can you explain the meaning of this love song?
Oh,
Few
I'll try,
lines.
sir. I'll try, sir. The first line is Yar Drav Salas Burly Burly. That my friend, my beloved has started a walk through the woods or through the jungles. And Bulbul Andan Saliye, a nightingale, should accompany him or her in those woods, in those jungles where my friend is taking a walk. Sir Nit Poshmal Travtas Nali Bulbul Andan Saliye. The poet requests his friends that they should take a garland with them and adorn the beloved with that garland. Mechalai Karta Saliye. And he requests the friends that they should tell the beloved about his condition, about his situations, everything. This is the song is like that. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. You go ahead with, because it will be boring if I continue.
Anant bhai, can we conclude now?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you. I, Minati Pradhan, on behalf of Vishwaneedam Center for Asian Musliming, would like to thank our today's chief speaker, Dr. Chandrakant Kamble, for his very relevant and, it is a topic altogether very interesting for everyone. Thank you so much. Dr. Chandrakant Kamble. So I also would like to thank Professor Ganluigi, Dr. Susri Sangita Misra, Mr. Alfred, Mr. Rafan, Nidhi Singh, and Soumya Kanan, and Professor M.B. Masuru for being present with us and sharing your insights. Thank you all so much. I also would like to thank the people who have joined us in our Facebook platform and in our YouTube platform. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vinati. Thank you, Professor Gamble.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ananta sir.
Thank you.
So
Hi,
thank you so
Nidhi. Hi, Chandrakant. So
Hello,
you
sir.
please become part of our volunteers. Hi, Nidhi. Finally,
Hello,
nice.
sir. Yes, sir. Nice to meet you.
Nidhi, you can introduce yourself a bit. Nidhi is teaching sociology in Kanpur.
Sir, I'm a
And,
research scholar in Chhatrapati Shahuji Maharaj University, Kanpur,
yes.
and I'm working on impact of artificial intelligence on Indian society.
great.
Basically, my objective is to explore the impact of artificial intelligence in higher education.
Okay, good job.
So you have now met our friends Minati and Susri Appa. You can also please join us regularly, Nidhi.
Okay,
Welcome.
sir.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We will see again. Right? Namaste.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
all.
Namaste, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.